He is the richest man on Earth. He runs 6 companies simultaneously. He wants to put chips in our brains and send humans to Mars. To some, he's a savior. To others, a villain. But forget the money. Forget the tweets. If you strip all of that away, what you are left with is arguably the most fascinating psychological case study in modern business history. How does a single human brain process that level of complexity, pressure, and risk without collapsing?
My mind is a storm. I don't think most people would want to be me. What did you mean by that? What your mind being a storm? Is your storm a happy storm?
No.
It's not a happy storm.
We should need like a psychiatrist couch here or something. I think to some degree I was born this way, and then it was amplified by a difficult childhood, frankly. But I can remember, even in happy moments when I was a kid, that it just feels like a rage of forces in my mind.
It turns him from a superhuman into someone who is actually struggling with a very human problem: overthinking and the inability to be present. To understand why he succeeded where thousands of better-funded experts failed, you have to look at the code his brain runs on. Today, we deconstruct the Musk operating system, the brilliance, the trauma, and the dark side of the most influential mind of our century.
Chapter 1. The Forge. Why he is wired for survival.
I did not have a sort of happy childhood, to be frank. It was
Once thrown down a flight of stairs and beaten until he was unconscious, he found no sanctuary at home. His relationship with his father, Errol, was a psychological battlefield that Musk says instilled in him a hardened resolve.
You grew up in a very violent home. Like, for example, when I always had to drive the car and he would be punching me and Elon would be between the seats hitting his father to stop him punching me. When he would be at home and punching me, Kimball and Tosca would be crying in the corner because they were really babies. Elon was 5, Kimball 4, Tosca 3. Elon would be hitting his dad at the back of his legs. And then when he was 8, we left.
My father has serious issues.
Okay, well, so you didn't have a happy childhood.
It was very violent.
You know that you were bullied at school and had a difficult...
I was almost beaten to death, if you call that bullying.
He'd read everything in the library in Durban, so I had the opportunity to actually read the whole encyclopedia.
Before the billions, there was Pretoria. Musk's psychology was forged in what he describes as a terrible upbringing. Relentlessly bullied at school. When a child is powerless in their environment, they often do one of 2 things. They fold, or they build an internal world they can control. Musk chose the latter. He retreated into books and physics, logical systems where rules didn't change and bullies couldn't reach him. This wasn't just studying. Now, you might ask, why does the childhood trauma of a billionaire halfway across the world matter to us? We aren't building rockets. We are trying to colonize Mars. But the truth is, Musk's brain is just an extreme version of a machine we all carry. Every one of us has a forge, a period in our youth where the world felt chaotic, where we felt powerless, or where we were told the rules were absolute and we had to follow them. Most people respond to that chaos by seeking safety. We build systems to hide. Musk responded by building systems to conquer. By studying his psychological architecture, we aren't just learning about one man. We are learning how the human spirit can take the raw, jagged glass of trauma and grind it into a lens of absolute clarity. This isn't just his story. It's a study of the systems we build to survive, and how we can start building systems to win.
Chapter 2. The Common Path. Building Defensive Systems.
Most people don't learn to navigate the storm. They learn to hide from it. So the mind does what it believes will keep it safe. It builds, not dreams, defenses. Overthinking becomes armor. Every conversation replayed, not to understand, but to prepare for the next wound. Every worst-case scenario rehearsed, not to solve it, but to make sure nothing hurts twice. This isn't awareness. It's a life on psychological watchtowers. The past leaves marks. We draw borders. Never trust again. Never risk again. Never feel that exposed again. So we dig a moat around the places we once bled. And yes, the enemy stays out, but so does everything else. Connection, chance, growth. We call it safety, but it's just a smaller prison with thicker walls. And in the quiet of that fortress, the mind turns inward, not to heal, but to punish. We replay our lives like trials without verdicts, haunted not by ghosts, but by the person we think we should have been. There is a moment in every driven mind, quiet, invisible, but decisive. A moment when the storm inside stops being something to survive and becomes something to use. Most people spend their lives trying to silence the chaos. They build walls around it. They medicate it. They hide from it. But a few discover something different. They realize the noise isn't the enemy. It's energy. The line between those who are consumed by their minds and those who learn to aim them. Because the traits we label as flaws, overthinking, restlessness, obsession, are not defects of the system. They are raw, unrefined power. When left without direction, overthinking becomes anxiety. But when given purpose, it becomes strategic foresight. The same relentless mind that once replayed conversations at 3 a.m. can instead simulate futures, solve problems, and design realities that don't yet exist. What was once a bug becomes a feature.
When I was a little kid, I was really scared of the dark. But then I sort of came to understand, okay, well, dark just means really the absence of photons in the visible wavelength.
And Elon said, darkness is merely the absence of light.
Then I thought, well, it's really silly to be afraid of a lack of photons. Then I wasn't afraid of the dark anymore after that.
Once one of the kids said to him, look at the moon, it's 1 billion miles away. And he said, well, no, it's actually under 250,000 miles away. And they said, oh, Elon!
The core insight. This incident illustrates cognitive decoupling. Most people are coupled to the emotional context of a conversation. If a child speaks with wonder, you respond with wonder. A winner's mind, however, decouples the emotion from the data. They view the world not as a series of sentiments to be validated, but as a series of facts to be verified. This is only the beginning. What you've just witnessed isn't a story about wealth or luck or being born into the right circumstances. It's something far more fundamental. It's a story about how a mind is built. Because behind every breakthrough, every impossible bet that somehow paid off, there is a psychological architecture most people never stop to examine. And if we're going to understand what separates those who reshape the world from those who simply inherit it, we have to go deeper. We have to decode the mind itself. And there is no better place to start than Elon Musk. Not because he is perfect, not because his path is one you should copy step for step, but because his thinking exposes something. A raw, almost uncomfortably clear window into what it looks like when someone refuses to be limited by the way things have always been done.
To understand how he thinks, we must first understand the foundation everything else is built on.
A philosophy called first principles. It is older than Silicon Valley, older than capitalism, and it may be the single most powerful mental tool ever conceived. In the next part, we go all the way in. We break down the psychology of the world's highest achievers. And more importantly, we show you how to construct that same mental architecture for yourself. From wherever you are, with whatever you have, the winner's mindset isn't inherited, it's engineered. Subscribe, and we'll show you how.